Okay, guys, I want to talk about today why I think jerking off still keeps you, doesn't keep you, it makes you a pussy. It makes you inferior. It makes you sit at a lower level compared to everybody else. Now, quickly before we get into this, if you don't want to be a pussy and you want to overcome masturbation in the quickest amount of time, check out the course. It's really affordable. I could have charged a lot more for it, but I want to help as many of you as I can. People are loving it. It works, and I think it's probably no, it isn't probably. It is the best self improvement product on the market, and I want to really make it accessible. So check it out. There's all the tips, all the tricks, whatever you want to call it. It has all the techniques that are actually going to help you to achieve no fap in the quickest amount of time possible without having to make mistakes, without spending years of your life. Essentially, you've just won back years of your life for a few dollars. You just saved yourself a lot of hassle. So check it out. But I want to talk about today why people are kind of just like pussies when they masturbate, when they jerk off, and it's only really became apparent to me recently. I had a friend who I've known for many years, and when I first met him, the main point of our friendship was really for me to get all my baggage out on the table, for me to express my emotions and to tell what was on my mind. Now, he was a little bit more mature than me. I think he's 2 years older than me. And he is a little bit more in his masculine, or was a little bit more in his masculine. So he'd help me. But what people don't understand is talking about your feelings, expressing yourself. That is a very feminine thing to do. It was never a masculine thing to talk about how you feel, what he said. Oh, that wasn't very nice. And that continued until I started NoFap. I'd known him for 2, 3 years at that point, and then I started NoFap. And I don't really relate to him anymore because I don't have problems. My mind is not self-destructive. I can deal with my emotional baggage. I don't need to express myself and tell people about this or that. I'm I grew up. I'm more masculine. Stop jerking off. Stop worrying about what he's gonna say and what she's gonna say. I just do it, and that's because I don't. And now I don't have anything to talk to him about. I talk to him about business, and he's a very he's a very talented guy, but his shortcoming is his mentality, and that's something that I fixed. I try to help him, but I can't change him. But I don't relate to him anymore. We're not as close. I'm still friends with him. I still think of him as a second brother, but we don't relate as much anymore. And I found that when I started NoFap, and now that I've completed my NoFap journey, I don't relate to people anymore. People don't relate to me, either or. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but it shows you how bitchy everybody else is who do jerk off, who masturbate, who watch porn, who fantasize about women, who are caring about the little details. It just shows me how far behind these people are and why you need to realize this and try and change this, because now that I don't relate to him, now that I don't moan to my friend, I don't tell him about my problems. Oh, there's this girl. And this would be frequent. I'd be like, every week there's a new girl I like. That's because my mind was feminine, because I was flipping all the time, because I was indecisive. It's a very feminine trait to be anxious and to be indecisive. These are all feminine traits. This is what's keeping you in that pussy mindset. And I'm not just trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to show you guys that the way you're living now is not a manly way to live. It's a very bitchy way to live. I don't have as many friends. I talk to two friends. The one I just talked about and another guy. He is no longer relatable. I haven't talked to him in nearly a year, nearly a whole year, because I've leveled up. I'm no longer a bitchy little wanker. Literally. And that's not just like those are just two people. But I don't speak to dozens and dozens of people. I don't see dozens of people anymore because of their mindset, because of the way they think, because I don't relate to them anymore. I don't relate to a lot of the people that I used to be very close with when I used to jerk off. And that is because I jerked off. Because I was bitchy, I was not good with girls. Well, I wasn't actually that bad with girls, but I just didn't have the balls to make moves. That was because of fapping. And you're going to find that the friendships you have, if you jerk off all the time, are probably not the friendships you actually really want. And you're going to realize that. And it's going to be very hard because a lot of people do it. A lot of people jerk off. And that is the problem. There's one guy I know personally that doesn't jerk off. One. And me and him are pretty tight. He's definitely one of my best friends. Now, there's other guys that are alright, but they still have that shit mindset. They still can't focus. They still have attention deficit disorder. It's fucking sad the way everything's going. And I've had people like I've talked about, because obviously as guys we talk about this kind of shit, and we're quite open when people are talking about if they jerk off or when they did it or this new chick that's the new thing or whatever. I sit there and I say, I don't do it anymore. I have a lot of people that don't believe me. Even one of my close friends, he was like, I don't really believe that you haven't done it in that long, or you don't do it anymore. I don't believe it. And that's because he can't accept that. Because he can't accept that he is falling behind. Because he still does it. And I don't do it because I'm leveling up and he's still stuck behind. He's falling behind. I'm getting ahead, he's falling behind. He can't accept that. People rationalize. I have this all the time. People rationalizing. That has been one of the more recent ones where people have been like, oh, I don't really believe that. And then some people are like, oh, well done. Some people are show gratitude, but a lot of people, because they jerk off, their scarcity mindset sets in. They believe, oh, they have this fixed mindset. They believe that, oh, this is always going to be the same way, and nothing's going to ever change. That's not how the world works. And I've been hit with that reality over my life. A lot of times where I've liked a girl and she's talking to another guy, I'd be like, oh, how could she do this? It's the scarcity mindset. Of course she's going to talk to other guys. Of course you're going to change as a person. That's normal. You can't stay the same forever. But that is the problem with fapping, is people stick to that fixed mindset. They can't change their mindset. Their mind is fucked completely and utterly. And people will put you down all the time, and vice versa. If you fap, you're gonna put people down. I can see myself if I put someone down, I'll feel shit about it because I know. I think, why did I do that? But now I don't really do that. I put them down as I take the piss out of people, but I don't constantly put belittle them and put them down. But when you get ahead, people are always gonna put you down. People are always gonna come up with excuses. I've had this many times where I've accomplished something great and someone says, "Oh, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that great. Oh, I don't actually believe you. You don't fap. How the fuck do you know? How the fuck do you know? Oh, you get no bitches. What the fuck? How the fuck do you know? It's just fucking ridiculous. I went out on a date with one girl. I said to my friends, oh, because I don't really tell them my business, but she was a very fit girl or attractive girl, and I was just a bit indecisive of seeing her again because of certain reasons. And what my what one of my closer friends said to me was, "Oh, but I bet she's ugly." When I said I went on a date with a girl, or actually it was one of my friends that told him. I was like, I couldn't believe it because one of the closer friends, I thought, oh, I can really trust that guy. Again, he's putting me down. He can't accept that he's falling behind. He can't accept that I'm doing my shit, and that's because of the scarcity mindset from fapping. Now I can't trust that guy ever again because I know he's not really the type of person I want to really be around constantly. You know, he's a great guy. He's fun to be around, but he's not gonna really ever level up because he's got that fixed mindset from fapping, from jerking off, and honestly, I thought he was gonna be the best. He showed me over the last year that he's not gonna go anywhere. But when I first started self improvement, he started around the same time, and he's miles behind now. He just never changed. He couldn't accept change. He's still a pussy. He still has that fixed bitchy mindset. That's a big problem. He reacts emotionally. That's fucking terrible. No one likes someone who reacts on pure impulse. Can't just lose your rag and then say, "Oh, sorry, sorry, I just lost my rag." That's not attractive. That's like, get the fuck away from me. You know, if you can't control yourself, then leave. It's not a very attractive thing, even for women. If you lose your rag all the time, you're gonna say she's crazy. Oh, she's bitchy. Now, by all means, women are more emotional, but like that's still not very attractive to be around. It's not, not as in a sexual sense. I mean, just in a human quality. That's fucking terrible. But that's the point, really. People just can't accept that. And you'll find yourself putting things back with this mindset. You'll come up with excuses. You'll say, "Oh, but it's not the right time to do this." Oh, I don't know. She's not really. She probably won't like a guy like me or whatever. You're going up to a girl. Oh, you have second thoughts and you don't do it. You put it off for no reason, or you're gonna start a business and you think, oh, now's not the right time. Oh, I'm gonna be quite busy now coming up, or I don't think it's the right time of the year to do it. You're always gonna come up with a fucking excuse. That's what I found. When I used to fap, I always came up with an excuse why not to do things. It took me 5 months to start my first business, my first business. 5 months for no reason. I just thought, well, now is not the right time. I thought in the position I'm in a few months' time, I'll be better off doing it then. I should have just started then. Because what happened was I waited 5 months And guess what? I got overtaken. People overtook me. And when I started, it was too late. People had already taken over that industry, and now I'm left here with my dick in my hands. And that's what happens in a business sense. It's very easy to fall behind, especially when you jerk off. If you're jerking off and coming up with excuses, scarcity mindset. Oh, I don't know. I don't believe I can do this. There's only a handful of successful people. There's fucking millions of successful people. I don't care if there's billions of people, but millions. Millions of people. Millions of successful people in this world. There's loads. There's no reason why you can't be any better than them. There's no reason why you can't be the most successful person in the world. There's no reason. It depends how you measure success, but there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't. Even if you don't have arms and legs, you can still be a fucking successful. You can still be successful. So there's no excuse. Whatever your mind whatever your mind comes up with is just pure shit, because I'm really annoyed at myself for 5 months, and I did it anyway. I just one day was thinking, oh, why don't I just do this? It wasn't. I didn't plan it out. Didn't wait. Didn't schedule it in for 6 months from now. It was 5 months. Didn't really count it. I just thought, oh, I'll do it in a bit. Now's not the right time. Forgot about it. Came back to it in 5 months. Fell behind. Didn't work. Didn't make any money off of it. Nil. And that was because I waited. And they say, oh, patience is the mother of skill, or whatever the fuck. Patience wins the race, slow and steady, whatever. It doesn't. Speed wins the race. Speed. So fucking sitting around jerking off, it's not gonna fucking change the world. Get your dick out of your hands. Start getting to work. And consumers are pussies. Consumers are born and bred pussies, and if you jerk off, you're a consumer. You are. Because you consume content, probably use social media, watch porn, whatever the fuck. You probably watch TV, you probably eat shit, you probably go to the movies, and by all means, you can indulge in these now and again. But if you do this consistently every day, consume, consume, consume. I consume. I'm a consumer. But I'm a different type of consumer. I don't consume shit that's been directed towards me. I consume shit that I actually need to benefit me. There's a certain thing like clothing. Oh, I want to have a look at a new style. Maybe the muscle fit shit is not working for me. Maybe I want something new. Maybe for summer I want some new clothes. I'll go research big influencers, I guess you could say. Not fucking Jake Paul or whoever the fuck you want to look at. Actual people who have style, who can then teach me what looks good and what doesn't look good. They can show me these golden gems of brands that make good clothes. Or maybe it's a certain thing. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe I need to find a certain person who's in that niche, or maybe I need to find a certain person who's successful, who's already talked about it. That's the kind of consumer I am. I don't consume Mr. Beast and fucking Morgs. Is he still around? I don't know. He was when I was still consuming shit. These people, Netflix, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I have Twitter for business, but I don't consume, I don't scroll. And when I do, I find myself scrolling sometimes, because that's what happens, because it's designed to do that. And you have to catch yourself and say, whoa, what am I doing? Get rid of it. Get rid of social media. Because by being a consumer, you're stuck in the trap of what really the big industries and companies want for you to do. You're never really going to break out of that bubble. You're never really going to achieve the next step. That's all I want to do, achieve the next step. But you can't get to that frame without actually taking action, without getting rid of distractions. I don't have my phone around me majority of the day, and if I have it on me or with me, it's because I'm learning something, not because I'm consuming unproductive, unnecessary shit. Like this brain rot. What's up with brain rot? Fucking brain rot. Like, People talk about it like it's a normal thing. Brain rot. Do you not fucking understand that? It's like people are so simple nowadays. Brain rot. It's probably not fucking good for you. When something rots, it's quite stinky, it's quite smelly, it's rotting away, it's disintegrating. Your brain, essentially, what you're watching is your brain disintegrating because you're watching stupid shit on your phone. I've seen light brain rot or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but I've seen some sort of brain rot. It's just fucking ridiculous. I'm able to see that. But people are talking about it like it's a normal thing. Brain rot. Like, how fucking stupid do you have to be? Brain rot. Jesus. Be careless. You're not as self destructive of what happens, what people say, the circumstances. Oh, this business didn't work out. Okay, move on. Next thing. Speed. Rather than, oh, it didn't work. What am I going to do? Oh, keep trying. Oh, maybe I'll buy this. Or maybe I should buy this. And then you've done nothing. Or maybe I'll just give it a few more months and try again. Or maybe I'll wait a few months, have a look for a new strategy. No. Move on. Move on to the next thing. And that's what happens when you quit. Your mindset isn't entirely fixed. Your mindset just doesn't fix. That's what I found. My mindset didn't completely kind of, I say fix, but really just become more strong. I didn't, got a little bit stronger, but I was able to develop it after I quit. I was able to develop it. I was able to develop a stronger mindset. And that's key. That's why people don't achieve the things that they say they're going to do. They say, oh, I'm going to get up for a run in the morning, 5 a.m. And they don't get up. They sleep in. They hit snooze. Sleep in 4 hours. Then they're lagging behind. Or maybe they sleep in 5 hours. Maybe they had a late night, went to bed at 3, and then set an alarm for 5, 2 hours of sleep, then woke up at like 1. Now they're behind. They're not ahead, they're behind. So, this is what happens when you don't construct your mindset, and when you are still doing this, when you're still fapping, you're still a pussy. You're still thinking like a pussy. You've still got a shit mindset. And this is why you go to bed at 3, you say you're going to get up at 5 or 6 for a run or do the gym, and then you don't get up, and then you say you're going to eat clean, and then you had a McDonald's for breakfast and KFC for dinner. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you need to hit the root of the problem. Just saying you're going to do this or saying you're going to do that isn't going to achieve anything. By hitting the root of the problem, and this is what I find, I have a problem. And now I'm getting better at it. I'm able to see the root of it, the problem. But before, I would just kind of glaze over it and just move on or try something else and look in the short term. Look in the short term rather than the long term. I'll think, oh, okay, yeah, I need to, I need to put on 5 pounds of, I need to put on 5 pounds. So, what do? Eat a load of shit, dirty bulk, and then you find, well, I put on 5 pounds, but only only half a pound is muscle, and the rest, 4.5 pounds, is just fat. So okay, you gain half a pound of muscle, but you've wasted 8 months of eating just to put on 4.5 pounds of fat. You just look worse. No, you need to hit the root of the problem. Okay, I actually want to put on 5 pounds of muscle. Okay, so I need to bulk up 11 pounds, 10 pounds. Okay, I need to eat very clean. Now I put on 5 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle. Then I can cut that down and I've got 5 pounds of muscle. You need to hit the root of the problem. You can't just glaze over it. Oh, I want to put on 5 pounds. No, 5 pounds of what? Do you want to put 5 pounds on? 2.5 muscle, 2.5 fat? Or do you want to put 5 pounds of muscle on? You need to be specific and actually hit the root of the problem. Not just, oh, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to go for a run, 5 a.m. And then you go to bed at 3 a.m. and you think, oh, I'm just a bit lazy. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then you go to bed at 3 a.m., sleep in till 12 again. You think, oh, I was just lazy. No, the reason is you slept in. It's not because you were lazy or you had a late night or No, it's because you were just stupid and you slept into 3 a.m. Go to bed at fucking 8 or 9, then get up at 5. Then you're actually going to get up for the run. But you have to work your way up to it. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to go for a run. Don't be unrealistic. Maybe you're going to get up at 8, then work your way 7, 6, 5. Whatever. But I found that you only think in the short term. You only think in the now or the really short term future. Only a day, 2 days, a week. You have to think in longer time spans. You have to think in extended periods of time. Because I'm not going to bullshit you. It takes about a year to overcome this. It takes about a year to stop fapping. So if it takes you a year, then realistically you're not going to be able to do it within a week or a month. That's why people don't understand. You have to get your head down and work at it. That's why people were so surprised when I was able to level up, because it came out of nowhere. I'm only really feeling the effects now rather than 4 or 5 months ago. And this is because it takes time to really show up. And once it shows up, it's in full effect. I stopped jerking off ages ago. People are only realizing now. Because you have to work at it. You actually have to think ahead. Okay, I'm not going to get clean for the next... I'm not going to get clean for the rest of the year. I'm still going to probably fap about 100 times. Maybe 200 times. Maybe 1,000 times. 1,000 times. There's only 300. No, I hope not 1,000 times. If it's 1,000 times, you're doing something wrong. But 200 times. Okay, but then the year after, I'm gonna fap no times. You have to think ahead. Maybe 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't know. Maybe you're working on a business. It might take 5 years. It might take 10 years for it to actually pay off. Maybe something really big. Maybe you're starting a clothing brand. It might take you a year, 2 years to actually work. You're thinking in the short term. Maybe you're starting a fast food chain. It's going to take you at least 5 years for yourself to actually become a direct competitor to the big giants like McDonald's, KFC, these guys. It's going to take you a long time for that to actually work. The Tates are a fucking perfect example. They are famous. They're very famous. And although they're not as big now, they're still fucking huge on social media. They still have a massive influence. And they're still rich as fuck. They just got out of prison, I'm pretty sure. And the charges were dropped because they were stupid. But they were obsessed with becoming famous. Even their trainers were saying 5 or so years ago, all they wanted to do, Andrew Tate, all he wanted to do was become famous. They were both on massive TV shows. Andrew Tate was on Big Brother, which was a big TV show 5, 10 years ago. He was obsessed with becoming famous, and it took him 11 years from, I think it was, when did he become famous? 2020, 2021, 21, 22, 22. Took him about since 2011, so it took him 11 years to become famous. 11 years of persistentness. 11 years of being persistent to actually achieve it. 11 years. 11 years. Imagine all the weeks, all the days that was of just, oh, is this going to work? The doubt. But because he's clean, because he doesn't fap, he was able to think ahead. He was able to think in decades rather than months or weeks or days or a year. That's powerful. That's where real change happens. You only see things actually happen after they've really been in full effect for a long time. All the things that you think have just happened by accident have been orchestrated. They have been orchestrated for many years, for decades even. All the things that you think happened by accident were done by someone, and they were planned out in a room many years ago. Fucking Musically, for example. TikTok and Musically, the exact same app. They just had a massive rebrand and then it blew up. But they were doing the exact same thing for like 4 or 5 years before TikTok actually blew up. I don't know the ins and out, but Musically was a thing for years. It's the exact same thing. It's literally the exact same thing. When it blew up in 2020 or whatever, it was the exact same thing as it was 3, 4, or 5 years before. Still about dancing and all this shit. Now it's obviously changed, but the core of Musically and TikTok were the exact same thing. It was just short term content. The whole fundamental was planned out years before, and it only took action years later. It only came in full effect years later. So it's the same with your addiction. It's going to take you a long time. So by taking these initial steps, it's going to eventually compound into something that's very big, that's very strong, and that is well thought out. And you say and do things you don't want to because you're so emotional, because your estrogen receptors have been enabled by fapping, because you act more like a woman than a woman would. You act more indecisive and emotional than an actual woman would. That's bad. You say and do things you don't want to. Like I said, like how you're out of control. You can't control your emotions. You do things that you think, wow, why did I do that? Or you said something that you really wish you didn't say. That's because you can't control yourself. That's very dangerous. So, if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe. If you have any suggestions you'd like me, if you have any suggestions and any topics you'd like me to go over, comment them down below, and have a good day.